Good morning everyone, welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the weekend in the 10th of May 2025. VE Day celebrations and commemorations. Keir has successful negotiations. Trump continues with his trade machinations, but with Ukraine and Russia is running out of patience. Putin gets a 3-day cessation to keep peace for his Red Square occasion, while Europe tells him to end his illegal invasion. Chinese elation with their new snooker sensation. All week for Europeans, the dominant theme was about 80 years ago when the Allies team withstood and then defeated an evil regime as Hitler ran out of soldiers and steam. A murderous maniac who had been on the rise, forced into a bunker and a sorry demise, and all good people looked to blue skies, hearts full of hope, joy in their eyes. At 3:00 p.m. on the 8th of May, Winston Churchill's message had been relayed. Restrained and understated, the bulldog had said, "We may rejoice, but let us not forget the toils and efforts that still lie ahead." Post-war wasn't going to be a rose bed. And with Japan still fighting the evil fight, our planet had not been freed from its plight. But VE Day was still a time of celebration, optimism and open-ended exhilaration. War in Europe was over, Churchill had told us, and as a battered continent still smouldered, an ecstatic Britain was carried on the shoulders of our selfless, courageous, heroic soldiers. But the joy was countered at the time by sadness at lives lost and ruined by one man's madness. On Monday's bank holiday, commemorations everywhere, and the main royals were on Buck House balcony there. Except of course Andrew and the red-haired spare, although Harry's not still a real royal to be fair. There were more events held on the 8th of May, exactly 80 years since that wonderful day. So everyone thought Trump had got it wrong. He was making it up as he went along. For international trade, a minor tragedy brought on by Trump's economic strategy. But this week emerged some possible signs that he'd known what he was doing all the time. He actually had a grand plan to get his deals sealed, long game tactics that he had kept well concealed. And on Thursday, Keir was crowing about our deal, tariffs eased especially for cars and steel. Critics weren't impressed with what Starmer had to show. We're not even back where we were 1 month ago. To be at the head of the queue to meet Trump, though, is a string the PM can add to his bow. Brexiteers, though, would of course have us know that it is our distance from Europe that has made things so. A Brexit dividend, that's what leavers tell us, that left the EU and others feeling jealous. On Tuesday, Keir had also grinned from ear to ear over a massive free trade deal with India. On Tuesday, Canada's new PM Mark Carney visited the White House expecting a Barney, but Trump chose to charm and remain pretty calm and had in his palm an adversary disarmed. On the Ukraine war, Trump's patience has badly worn, so on Friday Europe took the bull by the horns. Starmer, Macron and Metz in Kiev took a pop at Putin to bring his brutal war to a stop. The Kremlin coward said he wanted a 3-day ceasefire, a cynical manoeuvre from a consummate liar. Preparations had been made, plans well laid for his annual Red Square Victory Parade. He didn't want to be made to look like a mug in front of his gallery of villains and thugs. A blue and yellow drone strike in central Moscow would have been a crushing blow to Putin's ego. And just when we thought the world couldn't get more febrile, India and Pakistan are now lobbing missiles. On Monday, many had feared but were still shocked to hear of strikes on Pakistan-administered Kashmir. Retaliation by India for what they reckoned was a Pakistani strike on April 22nd. Pakistan's government claimed they were innocent. It had been a rogue strike, a terrorist incident. 26 Hindus had been killed in that attack. By the end of the week, Pakistan again struck back. Escalation looms and a nervous world is taking note, with two nuclear nations at each other's throat. 133 cardinals crammed into the Sistine Chapel, a massive decision with which they had to grapple. Gathered in there and not to be dispersed till they'd found a replacement for Francis I. 3 days of pontificating and navel gazing within the hallowed halls and stained glass glazing. The process is mysterious, secretive and closed, and in the end, no doubt, it was God who chose. Were there applications or interviews? Who knows? But on Thursday, out of the mass, the chosen one rose. The also-rans saw their hopes go up in smoke as the Catholics revealed their new top bloke. As Pope Francis has found his place in heaven, Robert Provost became Pope number 267. The first American pontiff there's ever been will assume the name of Leo XIV. The list of snooker world champions has a new name. Zhao Xingtong on Monday made his claim to fame. With an all-round game and a dead-eyed aim, the Crucible's first Chinese winner also became the first winning qualifier, which earned him much acclaim. Beating Mark Williams by 6 clear frames, the oldest ever finalist though should feel no shame. The Welsh legend had rallied but was finally tamed, as China's dragon extinguished the Welsh dragon's flame.